Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kinda hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Now! Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternating. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Robert Jarosinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer Carrie Jarosinski and our very own critic in residence Tim Brayton. With Tomb Raider swinging into theaters this upcoming weekend, we're looking at our top 5 video game movies. But first...
I think swinging was not a sufficiently
Yeah, I was trying to think. I could what's
raiding the tomb?
its
Raiding
way.
it's
like a video
theaters.
game zapping.
Well, no, it's like puzzle solving. Like Tomb Raider.
Solving.
She swings on a vine.
She does. Yeah, so we're gonna have to stick with swinging because there's no good verb for
There's guns, right?
Like there's
shooting
guns.
her way.
Raiding. But then
I already
it's
said raiding.
Yeah, but then it's like reusing
pixelated boobs.
By the way, they padded Angelina Jolie's boobs.
They did.
Because she's
I thought she was pretty supple to begin with.
She's pretty good to start with, but
Yeah.
I guess Tomb Raider Lara Croft has a 36 double D, and
Okay.
unfortunately Angelina...
Yes, Tomb Raider
36C.
Lara Croft is one of those individuals who could not exist in the physical realm, and so even as voluptuous a woman as Angelina Jolie had to be like dolled
Crafted.
up, rather than allow anyone to deal with the fact that Lara Croft had physically plausible measurements.
Interesting. Wait, so go back to this. She's a 36 what?
Double D.
We're the same size around.
For anybody who...
I'm also a 36.
Oh, safe size around. Okay.
This is, I mean,
Yep.
that's
You should have
something.
tried out for the part.
I should have. Just a little padding could get me there, maybe.
Yeah.
Some pillows.
A little extra rest would have maybe helped a growth spurt or something like that with the roll forward of the timing.
Oh, I
of
know.
Daylight
We had
savings.
daylight
Yep.
savings today. So it's spring ahead.
Spring ahead. Lose an hour of sleep. On the other hand, now it can be like readably daylight at 6 p.m., which I feel good about.
I do feel good about. What I don't feel good about, and this is to all of you kind and patient listeners, is that this is the highest likelihood that we've ever had that our children are going to walk into the room down here.
We tease it. We tease it all the time.
I know.
I feel like it needs to happen. We got to just make
They're
it
awake
happen.
up there for sure.
Yeah.
I went back up there and she was like, "Mama, I have a boogie." And I'm thinking to myself, what if I hadn't come up here? Would you have come down with your boogie? I don't know what she would have done.
That would have made for some great radio.
I know.
What do you tell them that we're doing? I tell them that we're recording the show.
I said, if you come downstairs, Mr. Tim's going to yell at you.
Real
And
loud,
that's what I do.
real hard.
Yeah.
On the air in front
There's
of
gonna be
everyone.
swears.
You're going to hear the language I would use in front of a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you've
not
told them
okay.
that we're famous, Care. So
I've never said that.
I don't think they're going to come down because they're like, this is their chance. This is
Maybe
their
it
parents'
is.
only chance to
Maybe they'll come
make it
down
big.
because they also want to be famous.
They're
and
like,
they want
is
to
she
be
ever
heard.
going to be Dora the Explorer? And we're going to be like, no, we can never live up to those
We'll be like,
expectations.
we had Dora in here, but then you opened the door and I had to snap her neck. And she's dead now.
She's dead.
And I'm going to drink her blood.
And
out of
she's
her
under
spine.
my chair. Get out. Let's try that if that happens. But apologies if it does, because I already warned Rob to go to break if that happens. So there could be just like a random child scream / break.
Well, daylight savings wasn't the excuse that for the reason that we didn't see too many movies. I think we all ended up watching the same movie, which is fine because
Yeah,
it's the newest
my
release.
list. Well, my list has multiple films on it, but only one. It was not Soviet propaganda from the 1930s. So I don't know how you guys did.
Let's pass that one by.
I was gonna say Death of Stalin, but that doesn't fit.
No, I
time-wise.
mean like actual Soviet propaganda
Okay.
from the actual 1930s.
Yeah, well, let's skip that one. Let's go for. We all saw Wrinkle in Time in theater, so let's jump into our worth mentioning segment of the movies we've seen since the last episode, which is the only one we want to talk about.
Which is the only one that exists.
It could be great, but probably not.
Spoiler.
In my opinion.
I haven't told you my feelings yet.
Okay. Wrinkle in Time 2018. Tim, you want to give a little rundown on that?
Yeah, sure. So this is based on the very wonderful children's novel, winner of it was the Newbery or one of the big.
I don't read, Tim.
One of the big children's medals, written in the 70s by Madeleine L'Engle. Film was scripted by Jennifer Lee, who of course was one of Disney's people since she wrote Frozen, and Jeff Stockwell. Directed by Ava DuVernay, who has made a few films, most notably Selma, the Martin Luther King film from a couple years back. So the film is kind of a sci-fi fantasy about the ability to bend space and time, creating these sort of wormholes with your brain. And this gentleman, Professor Murray, creates such a wrinkle in time.
Played by Chris Pine.
And goes missing. And it is now 4 years later, his daughter, Meg, who is played by Storm Reed, I believe is the actress's name, middle schooler, put upon, everyone hates her, she hates the world, she thinks her father abandoned her. And long story short, these three beings of pure knowledge who take the form of human women, played by Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling, and none other than Oprah Winfrey, herself, come and teach Meg and her younger brother and the feckless boy who has a crush on her how to themselves wrinkle time in order to go out into the universe and find Meg's missing father with the power of love.
You read this book, Tim?
I love this book. It's a great book.
It's the best
One
book.
of the best books.
So why is the movie horseshit?
The movie is horseshit because the book is all about esoteric and in some cases perceptually indescribable ideas.
Okay. They went for it.
It's a book about thoughts. It is not a book about incidents or images.
Yeah.
And so the movie attempts to recreate that in the form of a shit ton of glitter.
There's a lot of glitter.
There's so much glitter.
Yeah, mostly on Oprah's face.
Mostly on Oprah's face.
Yeah, which
And
is
it's
much
like-
larger than everyone else's
It
face.
is a large face.
Not like really,
This
but
is a-
like
this is a
actually in the movie.
$100
it
million
is.
movie in 2018. Like the visuals weren't. I mean, they were pretty. Some of them were pretty bad. Like,
Well,
there were some
the thing is,
interesting things.
it was
but-
they were expensive visuals. Like the CGI in this film is very good. The makeup in this film looks like
they just bedazzled.
it
people's
looks like
eyebrows.
they ran out of time, and as they were walking to the studio, they walked by a Hot Topic, and they were like, maybe, and so they just ran into the Hot Topic, and they just fucking bedazzled Oprah's face with like literal sequins.
And I'm also going to grab this plastic dildo on the way out and bring that with me.
Why not? I don't remember there being a plastic dildo in the movie, but sometimes
No,
you're at Hot
from
Topic.
Hot Topic.
Sometimes you just got to buy the dildo.
Yeah, you have to. That's where I got all my bachelorette party items. But yeah, anyway, back to the movie. Yeah, I adored this book as a child. It's one of 5 books I've read in my life, and I've read more than 5 books. You didn't look like you thought that was a joke. But anyway, the book was so good and so transformative. Like it would suck you into this book. Like if you read it, Rob, like you would feel like you were transported into the book.
It's so incredible. It's like this esoterica for children about like spiritual philosophy and science.
I think I have it over there on the bookshelf
It's so
too.
good.
We should read it. I think reading it again as an adult would be a totally different
I would
experience for
imagine so,
sure.
but I think still probably a satisfying one.
Totally.
But it's 2 hours 5 minutes, but yet it doesn't use the time wisely. It jumps. I mean,
Well, it's an hour and 49 minutes.
Sorry, I got the wrong
You're
timer.
including the trailers.
Oh, okay. It jumps so quickly into things. Like I was already confused as to what was happening. In the first 5 minutes, there's an adoptive child.
It rams through the plot.
And there's no adoptive child in the book, right? There's the twin brothers, right?
The boy, the character exists, but yeah, I believe he is a birth child, like a natural child.
Yeah.
But that's like the first 10 minutes is like about that, but then there's nothing really about it. And then it just jumps to the next thing, and it jumps all around.
Very, very scattered, very poorly structured.
And I saw Tomorrowland last year, like this very much similar type of messaging that it tries to go for.
It's clearly like every year Disney gets one perplexingly bad sci-fi film that has like a really confused script. This year it was Wrinkle in Time. A couple years ago it was Tomorrowland. A couple years before that it was John Carter.
Yeah, the acting was subpar.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
The only one I cared about was maybe Chris Pine.
Yeah, like I don't
Chris
want
Pine and
to.
Gugu.
And maybe his
I don't
wife.
want to like
Is that
spend
Gugu?
time on it because I feel like there's absolutely no upshot to being like, boy, those kids sucked.
Yeah, I know.
But those kids,
They were
suck,
really
especially
bad.
the both boys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which boy I liked less. Storm Reed was just merely not good. The boys were terrible.
Yeah, I think I liked the boyfriend, like the love interest guy.
I like
more
Calvin more.
than the little
Calvin's
brother.
character.
He felt like he was
Levi
a
Miller.
35-year-old man who happened to be playing a 12-year-old boy.
Agreed, but it felt like he was poorly paired. Like I felt like it just wasn't a good dynamic. He was trying, I feel like, but he wasn't paired very well. And then the little kid was just
The little
awful.
kid was terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty. I
Just
feel
so
bad.
bad.
I feel bad to talk about it.
I know.
Chris Pine and Gugu though.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It-
for both scenes that Gugu gets, she was
Yeah,
really good.
She was
Wait,
good.
who's Gugu?
Gugu
The
Mbatha-Raw.
wife.
She's the wife. She's a great
She
actress.
had
needs
more
to-
than that, didn't she?
She's not in very much.
Oh, no.
She needs to
I
be
liked
in
her.
more.
Yeah, she was
Needs
good.
to be in more
Y'all
things.
need to see Beyond the Lights. If you haven't seen
Okay.
it, see it.
Is she Beyond the Lights? Okay, I'll have to check it out.
She's in it. She's Beyond
But if
the
you
Lights.
haven't seen Wrinkle in Time, highly recommend not doing so.
Yeah, you're okay. You can leave it out
It's
of your
upsetting.
life.
And can I just
bad it is.
add insult to injury? In order to fit it in before this podcast, I had to go see it in 3D. So I wasn't even able to movie pass. I had to spend $14 to see this motion picture.
Oh gosh! And so
The
did they do
credits were
something?
very good in 3D. The end credits were really cool.
Can I say Zach Galifianakis cameo? What do you think?
Oh yeah.
I think it was a cameo by Zach Galifianakis.
It was actually a little bit funny though. That's the only time I laughed.
It kinda
in the
broke up
entire
the-
movie.
I
boring.
liked that it was Galifianakis. He wasn't like playing himself. He was like super underplaying it. And I liked that. Also the Michael Pena cameo, mostly because I was like, is that Michael Pena the whole time? And then he was credited. And I was like, yes. nailed
That was Michael Pena.
It was a little weird because of the costuming.
Yeah,
So,
how did they use the CD? Did they the CD? How did they use the 3D? Did they use it well?
It's fine.
Okay.
You know.
I'm picturing Reese Witherspoon like flying around as that leaf thing.
The leaf thing, like the scene was good when she like has all the scarves flying around. That was kind of cool.
I was trying to put on my critic hat, Tim, with some of the shot selections too, like weird framing.
Some very weird framing of close-ups in this movie. Some very peculiar low angles.
Yeah, and I didn't get. I guess Ava was trying to make it a little bit more artistic or something. I don't
know.
really
Like,
get what was
she
happening.
usually
but-
has pretty good instincts for framing conversations. Selma, and even more so her first film, Middle of Nowhere, really tight conversations, and they just didn't play this time.
Did you pick up? It's not a spoiler. Did you pick up the voice acting that was done by the It?
You know, I didn't notice.
That was David Aiello bringing it back. I don't know why you would need David Aiello for
well,
that.
but you just mentioned Selma.
No, I know why he was brought,
okay.
but it's like what a way. Like I can discern
David
that
Aiello
voice.
needs to eat like the rest of us.
Oh well,
Which means he had two movies open this weekend.
that's right.
Because there's that other one that
The
looks
Gringo.
like
Get the Gringo.
It looks like
Actually,
a movie I want to be good.
I would have much
It's not
rather
Get
seen.
the Gringo.
It's just
It's
plain
just
Gringo.
Gringo.
Get the Gringo is a different movie.
that you saw. You
and I
liked
saw
that
that.
one.
I really liked with Mel
Yeah.
Gibson.
Yeah,
I did
no,
that
like I think Gringo looks like the kind of movie that I want to enjoy and don't enjoy. But I'm
This
going to be
was
seeing it.
One of the other things that I'll just add to is I asked Rob after we saw it, is this a movie that we just hated and our kids would love? And Rob said no. Like, meaning, do you take your kids to this and then just suffer through it? And I think the answer is still no.
I was in a theater with some small children who, I don't know if they liked it, but they were certainly quiet and attentive the whole time.
And that's, I know what you care most about.
That's all I care
quiet
about.
children.
I want to know that the children are silent.
There's no way this is going to be our kids' never-ending story. Like it wants to
Right.
be.
It
wants to be a child
Yes, it
fantasy.
does.
To be the
It wants-
never-ending
And it's
story.
not.
Reese
It wants
Witherspoon
to be the
dog.
never-ending story more than it wants to be A Wrinkle in
I
Time.
completely agree. Completely agree. So skip it.
Remember, you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternateending.com. That's alternateending.com. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. If you want access to exclusive content, make us watch a movie, or pick your own episode topic, you can do it all from our Patreon page, just like Kathleen Pinkley, who just picked up our Razzie Award, entitling her to this very here shout out
Thank you, Kathleen.
all of our exclusive content. Thank you, Kathleen. Also, want to thank all of our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing it is easy. Just go to our website, alternateending.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last episode, here were the things that were purchased. Someone's getting ready to get their car detailed. Had some microfiber cloths purchased.
Hope
Pack
it's
of
you.
3.
I hope it's you.
I'd rather go outsource, man.
I know you would.
I don't want to put the wax on. Like there's so many steps to detailing. Oh, speaking of which, some turtle wax purchased.
All right.
And also some Invisible Glass Premier glass cleaner. If this person would like to come over, I would tip them very well to detail my cars.
Yeah.
Also had some books purchased. The Whole 30, the 30-day guide to total health and food freedom.
Ooh.
Okay.
I hear a lot of people talk about that one too.
Yeah, actually, my mother's workplace did that
Yeah.
diet just recently.
Was it effective?
She seems to be in very good spirits, and
Oh, your mom's currently
she's
on
currently
it.
on it.
And she likes it.
She likes it.
That's like no processed foods. You have to eat nothing but like whole foods
Whole Foods, hence the name
for 30 days.
Whole.
In 30 days too.
Yeah, but seems to be
No
actually
sugar?
pretty easy for her to stay on it. Like the big thing is no grains, no beans, no dairy.
Just cry. I just cry every day.
I feel like I would rather have a nothing other than beans
things.
and dairy
Yeah.
diet.
Write your own book.
Yeah, right.
Eat some fucking beans with Dr. Timothy Britton.
Yeah, right.
The empty 30.
Yes.
It could be the empty 30.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Beans are very good for you. Beans and rice, we were talking
Yeah.
about this before the show. Beans and rice are a very
It's a combination
complete food.
Yeah.
Also had some movie trivia madness purchase. Appreciate that. Also St. Patrick's Day coming up, so had some theme books. Looks like purchased here. How to Catch a Leprechaun. That
Nice.
was terrible.
No. I think you need to
keep with it.
I think you need
Keep
to
with
do
it,
the
yeah.
rest of this half of the show in an Irish accent.
I tried
going.
Irish once in front of a crowd.
Just do the rest of the Amazon purchase.
No, I just can't do it.
Okay.
The itsy bitsy leprechaun.
The itsy bitsy leprechaun.
That was good
Itsy
too.
bitsy leprechaun.
Oh, yeah.
St. Patrick's Day coloring book.
It's turning a little Swedish.
Yeah, a little Swedish.
No, run with it. Run with it.
Coloring. We had a coloring book for kids. Appreciate that. The Tom Talk 12-inch Apple. MacBook envelope. Carrying case. Got it. So if you want to protect your MacBook, your little 12-inch MacBook.
Is it an Irish-themed MacBook?
It is an Irish-themed MacBook. No,
I'm asking, is it?
No, it's
No,
not.
you've turned Indian.
Irish thing.
You've turned Indian.
Also, some more cables purchased. People enjoy their. It's a USB hub. That's the problem with the new MacBooks is they only have like the one USB.
I know.
So you got to get the hub to connect multiple USB devices.
I can't even deal with the amount of not stuff you can plug into a Mac anymore.
Then you got a silicone keyboard cover for your MacBook 12. That's really nice. Gift card, Amazon, $15 gift card for a birthday.
Nice.
Appreciate
Happy
it.
birthday.
In the black design. Has some health and personal care. Copper. They always talk about how the copper helps the circulation or the joint pains, things like that.
It's teething, too, right?
You're going to put some copper,
First
you're going to
I've
put a
heard,
penny in
just
someone's
gonna,
mouth? What are you going to do?
Make your kids chew on some
Never
wires.
mind. But so moms that don't know this, if you ever see those necklaces that you're like, what is that? Why are babies wearing necklaces? That's supposed to be for teething. But I thought those were made of copper, but they're just copper colored.
No.
What if
This
the
is
baby
different.
is just fashion forward?
Sounds like poison.
That could be the case, or you never know.
Also had some ebooks purchased. Laird Krieger, A Hollywood Tragedy. Are you familiar with
not familiar
the
with
tragedy of Laird Krieger?
I assume he died.
Yes, tragic. Also had The Hobbit on an ebook purchase. That's
could
going to
my
be a
dad.
long read.
That could be my
Is
dad.
that an adaptation of those wonderful movies from a few years ago?
Yeah, it does say parentheses Lord of the Rings in case you weren't sure. And then on Amazon Instant Video, not familiar with this title, Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Red
Red Morgue.
There are
Rue.
Wait, was it red? Because if
No,
it's red,
Rue.
it's not. There are
Rue.
many filmed adaptations. A short story by Edgar Allan Poe that has been filmed numerous times in varying levels of quality.
Very nice. Well, thank you for all your purchases. When we get back, our top 5 video game movies. Welcome back to Alternating. We're talking about our top 5 video game movies. Care, what makes a top 5 video game movie to you?
Okay, we're just jumping in.
Apparently,
I
we're
thought we were going to talk
we're
about.
at least going to talk about like how the reason we're doing this is because Alicia Vikander is puzzling her way through Tomb
rating
Raider.
her way.
She's rating.
It doesn't look good.
She's rating some
36
Tomb
double
It
D'ing
looks
her
so
way.
bad.
It looks really bad.
Why
I
would
feel
it be
bad.
good?
I feel bad for Alicia. Although she needs a payday. She doesn't have a payday.
She's making money.
What has she done before this?
She won an
Oscar.
Oscar for that terrible movie about the Danish girl.
Danish girl.
Oh,
And she was in.
Awesome in Ex Machina.
She was in the Man. Oh, that's right. She was in Ex Machina. She was in the Man from Uncle.
Okay. I saw Ex Machina.
And
Now I know who she
married
is.
to Michael Foss, or maybe boyfriend, girlfriend.
I don't know.
Michael Fossbonder.
They
An
have
item.
been intimate. I know that much.
You know about the
I
intimate
know
details. Yeah.
very well.
Which
I don't know-
base?
I don't know who I'd rather be more intimate with. I don't know.
I would be the meat in that sandwich.
Yeah.
is all
I'm
saying.
literally blanking on Michael Fassbender's face.
You don't
Imagine the sexiest man. First
Magneto.
off, his face is not the part of Michael
Oh,
Fassbender that is germane.
Magneto.
If you've seen Shame,
You would catch
you
it-
do
catch
not
Shame.
care what his face looks like.
I now know who you're talking about, and I will have to agree. Actually,
Somehow
that's a
we've-
good combo.
We've
Right? They're going to have some pretty babies.
we've diverted quite a ways away from top
Sorry.
5 video game movies, but no, not typical. You know, for you probably don't know this, Tim. I was a bit of a video game nerd. If it wasn't
You
movies,
don't say.
I feel like I should have had a video game podcast. There was a point in my life where I thought I'll never get tired of playing video games, and then life
That's
happened
the problem.
and kids-
Life gets in the way. Although I've been playing some. I've been catching up with like some early 2000s Game Boy Advance games
Okay.
on my Wii U.
I can share you some of mine.
late 80s,
All right. Yeah.
late 80s through 2000s. That's all I did. That and movies. I was watching a movie or I was playing a video game. So
Yep.
this is a topic near and dear to my heart. Not from my view. typically don't do well from a critical perspective or from a really an audience view
Not
perspective.
typically.
But
Yeah, I'm concerned because I don't know if you guys know this either. Tim might not know, but I'm also a bit of a gamer myself.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Super Mario 1, I can get to King Koopa in like 3 levels.
Not bad. That's
I know.
typically the number of levels it takes to get to King Koopa.
Not unless you're an expert. And I also, Mario Kart, I actually hold the record in my family when I use the princess. Mario Kart, I'm the winner there. And Tetris, also
Nice.
pretty good there.
I grew, I spent the last 3 weeks becoming re-obsessed with the Tetris theme music. It's a good song.
It's good. It's addictive. Although I will say Tim sent over the list to us of the full supposed list of all of the video game movies.
Every theatrically released movie based upon a video game.
I
in North
hadn't
America, and then he added
another list
A supplementary list.
of
Which was
movies
what?
about video games.
about video games, right? I hadn't
or
seen any of
video
those
game
either.
playing
Yeah.
in it, So what did you choose to go with for what?
So I
what
didn't-
is a video game movie to you?
I hadn't seen any of those ones that Tim sent over, so I had to finagle a bit with the criteria for this episode.
All right, I'm excited.
So I'm going in order of least. I'm starting with the most absurd to the least absurd movies that somehow relate to video games.
I like
so
it.
relate. It's
I feel good about this.
did not have to be a video game property first for you.
It should have been. I actually think that that's probably the right criteria, but I couldn't get there in the 5.
No, because our audience was back and forth.
So no, not for me.
Okay.
Nope.
right.
Just had to go either way on the video game coverage. And
Tangentially video game related.
yep.
Okay.
What about you?
So here's my thing. I could not use the definition a movie based on a video game property for the simple reason that if I did so, my list would have 4 Paul W.S. Anderson films on it and Silent Hill, and I haven't even seen Silent Hill. I'm just going to go on faith that it's better than all the others, because this is a desolate subgenre of film. Very bad movies based on video games. And so I will tell you the list I'm not presenting is number 4, Resident Evil. Number 3, Resident Evil Retribution. Number 2, Resident Evil. The other one besides Retribution that's 4 and 5. I'm drawing
Afterlife? No.
Is it Afterlife? Might be Afterlife. It's Afterlife.
Okay. Final chapter?
And then number 1 would be Mortal Kombat. So that's the list I'm not giving because that's a boring list. So I ended up going with any movie in which video games are a critical facet of the plot.
Okay, that's better.
Wow.
I like that.
It also has to be one in which games are being played, not one in which the logic of games is being applied to a narrative. So no Scott Pilgrim versus the World, no Edge of Tomorrow, no Run Lola Run.
We're going to have very diverse lists.
At first, I thought they would all be the same, and now
Because
I feel less
I went 100% on had to be a video game property.
So you're
before.
going for my 4 Resident Evils.
I'm going. Well, I'm also limiting it to 1 per.
That's the thing. I thought, well, maybe I could just do only 1 Resident Evil, but then it's but then it's a bad list.
Yeah.
It needs to have nothing but Resident Evil.
No, and as I look at it, my average Rotten Tomatoes for my list is 28%. So that
seems about right.
So these are more guilty pleasures because it's
they're not even pleasurable. No, they're just guilty.
But it's guilty because playing these games, seeing the characters come to life for me was everything. So we'll get into the meat of this, but all of mine were commercial successes. All of them. Every single one.
Huh.
So, I mean, there is...
What do you mean by that?
They tripled their budgets, doubled their budgets, so they made enough money.
Here's a question. Do you guys go both ways where...
Oh, I go both ways.
I know you do. But can you go the other way? What about a video game that was made into a movie? Or wait, no, sorry.
A movie that
was
then
made
spawned a video game?
Spawned a video game.
My father, when I told him this was the list, he said his first pick would be GoldenEye. And I said, well, that's interesting, but I can't possibly go there.
All right.
No, I did not allow that.
Okay.
I was trying to be really strict. I wanted
getcha.
to do video game properties turned into movies, which was tough because that excludes Tron, which released in the same year. The video game and the movie was released, but
the game was based. It's a weird edge
that
case.
one's okay.
Because the game is based on the movie,
right?
Not the other way around.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the movie's popularity is due entirely to the popularity of the game.
right.
Yeah.
And so I chose to exclude Tron.
There's just so many rules that you guys are adhering to
So what's
don't
your number
know.
5 then?
My number 5 is one that is probably your guys' number 1, so I'm just going to lead in with it. And it's the classic 90s movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Because, it's a video game.
It's a fetch quest.
And
there's also a video game based on it that I never played,
there
but I remember
is.
seeing it in the pages of Nintendo Power.
Oh my God.
It's a 3/4 view top down where you have to go find historical figures and put them in your phone booth.
You do.
Oh my.
And here's why I'm including it. It might not feel like it fits to you because I think it goes the other way. I think they base the video game probably on the movie.
You think?
It's a possibility. But here's what happened. I've actually played this game, and so it feels more relevant because it's a good game. It's a good game that's out there in
I
an
always
arcade.
wanted to play the game.
Did you?
I never did, but
you
I
didn't
always
want to
wanted
waste your quarter on it. Here's where you play this game, where you get one of those $10 unlimited for the entire night type things.
Oh, totally.
And then you go play this game.
So this is a stand-up arcade game?
It's a stand-up
Have
arcade
you ever
game.
been to the Galloping Ghost in Brookville, Illinois?
I need to go there.
It's so good.
I've heard.
We should do that. We should have that be like a summer vacation that
Let's
we do.
do like a date thing.
Let's do like a threesome.
Let's all go.
Let's go to Galloping Ghost and then
go to
have
Galloping
sex.
Ghost. Yeah, right.
and then have sex at Galloping Ghost. Very easy to have
I
a private
think
moment in the
lots of
bathrooms
people
there.
do that. I think lots of people do.
I think the kind of people who go to Galloping Ghost probably very rarely have sex.
Really? Which is why we're all eager to get there. So this is directed by Doug Liman and written by Christopher McQuarrie. You guys ever seen this one? Bill and Ted? Keanu Reeves?
I think you have gone pretty far awry with both of those names.
Really?
I am fairly confident that neither one of those individuals.
I can't tell you who wrote and directed those movies, but I can tell you for 100% certainty it's not those two.
It's not those two.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about these movies then. So
that's Edge of Tomorrow.
I feel that now that you're saying that, I feel those names coming. It's weird. It's weird that those names are here. So let me tell you about this movie and how many opportunities are we going to get to talk about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Maybe we can do a best time travel movies at some point.
That could be.
I'm sorry, I'm just like really stuck on picturing a Doug Liman, McQuarrie, Bill and Ted.
Actually, I feel like the Bill and Ted we got is probably not a whole lot different from the one that Doug Liman would have directed, is honestly my...
Those are actually the people that did it, but we'll move on from there. No one fact check me. So these two friends, Bill S. Preston and
Stephen Herrick directed it, and it was written by Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon.
yeah, that feels
Stephen
like
Herrick,
that could
if I'm
be
not
right.
mistaken,
Yeah.
also directed the live-action 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close.
Yeah, I was going to mention that next. That's where I was going to get to.
Much worse film than Bill and Ted.
Yeah, Bill and Ted was actually kind of good, wasn't it?
Also made Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead and Critters.
Sweet.
Don't tell Mom Your Babysitter's Dead is one of my top 20 movies.
It
of
was
all
his
time.
follow-up to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, second feature,
second film.
Second
well, his
film.
first film was Critters, so these were his second.
Oh,
so Bill and Ted was a second film.
So for those of you who don't know, this is weird, but we did do a top 5 second film several
Yeah,
episodes
check out
ago.
that one.
So
That's
check
a
out
good
that
one.
one where we did not include Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Anyone who's concerned about us being weird on the podcast is long since
long
turned
gone.
this
Yeah,
episode off.
I'm sure they have. So this stars Keanu Reeves, who plays Ted, and then Alex Winter plays Bill. George Carlin's in this too, who plays Rufus, the guy that comes as their time travel liaison, and he comes, and so these two guys, they're not like the sharpest tacks in the box, but they come and they're failing their history class. They won't graduate if they don't pass, which is totally bogus.
I see what you did there.
I know. And so some guy comes in a telephone box. What are those things called?
Phone booth?
Phone booth. Comes in a phone booth and tells them that their lives are critical to the future of mankind, so they have to go back in time and
learn enough
sort things
history
out
to pass this test.
yeah. And it's a classic.
It is a legit classic.
And it's a video game that I've played and not done very particularly well at, but I've played. And it's a stand-up arcade game that you should look for.
I am going to also reiterate, if we are going with video game narrative logic, this is basically a movie version of a fetch quest. You have to go and collect all of the variables,
Yep.
and then you can go to the final level.
That's another point
it's
that I was going to
basically
make.
just Zelda, but with a phone booth instead of a flute.
Exactly.
You know what I would have rather you do care?
No.
Is, if you're doing video games based on movies, I would have ranked it by my favorite video game. Maybe that's what you're doing.
So that's not what I'm doing, but here's what I'm doing is it's one that I've played, and I won't do this criteria again for the rest of my list, but I needed a fifth one.
Okay.
I get that.
Got
Okay.
it. I'm with you. All right,
That's
Tim,
where
number
I'm at.
5 to you.
Number 5 to me is a little bit less obviously a video game movie than is Bill and Ted, because instead of being based on an arcade, it's merely set in an arcade. And this
Okay.
film is 2012's animated Disney film Wreck-It Ralph.
That is my number one.
I thought that might be someone's number one.
But that's okay. It's my number one because it's the least absurd.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is a movie directed by Rich Moore. Honestly, not a movie I adore in a lot of ways. I think it's specifically not a movie I adore in terms of the way it represents like video games, because I think it sort of hasn't thought it through. But I also needed a fifth.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about Wreck-It Ralph, Carrie?
Well, I'll tell you briefly that Wreck-It Ralph is this bad guy who's inside an arcade or an arcade game.
Fix-It Felix Jr.
Fix-It Felix.
Which is an actual game now.
Is it?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Because it's based on the movie.
So he
Which
goes
makes
out.
which was Carrie's other criterion.
Yeah, that was yours.
So this one actually, the reason it's number one is for both of those reasons. And so he's this outcast because he's a bad guy and he just goes and destroys everything and he wrecks everything like Ralph would do. And then, but he goes to these parties in the game and people are like, they don't want him around because he's a bad guy. So he goes out and he's like, comes up with a master plan. I'm going to jump into another game. I'm going to win a medal. I'm going to be the hero. And then I'm going to come back and everyone's going to love me. But things go awry. And there's a bad guy in the movie he goes into. And is he going to win that medal? I don't know. Is the bad guy going to jump over into their arcade game? I don't know. And
Sounds like you don't know a whole lot.
you don't know a lot. I don't want to spoil this movie. It's 2012. I think some people haven't seen this. If you are a gamer type person, though, I think that there's fun.
It's
I think
the
it's
Toy
fun.
Story of video games. It has
Yes.
like a billion cameos from
video game
most
cameos.
So
important-
many people.
Like the significant characters it does not include for reasons of like rights things. It has neither Mario nor Sonic, but it has pretty much every other video game character that somebody who was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s
love.
recognizes.
I love
Yeah.
the therapy session with all the bad
Therapy
guys.
session with the bad guys is good.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, they get like the what's his face is in there. The what's the guy with the hair, the burning hair, right?
I don't know.
You
I
don't know
mean,
who
the
I'm
characters
talking
I
about?
remember from that sequence are Bowser and M. Bison.
Oh yeah, Bowser.
Zagat.
Gosh.
Zagat.
Gosh, it's just fun. Like that's the thing. It's
and
fun.
Cubert is a really like fun bit in this movie where he swears a lot and his swears like sort of clatter out onto the ground because he talks in bubbles because he
That's
does because he's
right.
Cubert.
Good picks.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Had I done it on movies based on or that
Incorporated
video
video
games, that this would have certainly been on my top.
So what's your number 5?
Instead, I went with Shuriken.
I don't know what that
Which
means.
one of the two films based on Street Fighter did you go with, sir?
I went with the
Both.
1994 Street Fighter featuring a Jean-Claude Van Damme who probably ate away 1/3 of the movie's budget at, I don't know how much was but the budget, $35 million, $8 million of which went to Jean-Claude Van Damme playing Guile, Colonel Guile, featuring the last performance that I'm aware of Raul Julia.
Second to last, actually.
But the most hammy version of all Raul Julia's
clearly.
performance. Just have Raul Julia just having some fun as M. Bison, the dictator.
And it's actually kind of wonderful. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, how could Raul Julia... Because he was sick, and he knew he was sick. And everyone's like, how the fuck could Raul Julia do this movie? It's like his last theatrical year's film. It's because he knew he was dying and wanted to leave his kids a movie that they would be excited to see.
Oh.
It's like, like when you know that, it's like, I gotta love Raul Julia even more than I already did.
It's a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, 3.8
Well
on
earned.
IMDb. Directed and written actually by Stephen E. D'Souza, who did 48 Hours. Wrote that one.
D'Souza.
Steven
D'Souza.
D'Souza has written
D'Souza.
a lot of
A lot of screenplays.
very key figure in the development of the 80s action comedy.
Commando, Jumpin' Jack Flash, some Beverly Hills Cop, Die Hard.
Beverly Hills Cop, some
yeah,
Die Hard.
so he knows action.
D'Souza is a big name.
Surprisingly, for a video game about fighting and about one-on-one action, not really nothing memorable about the fight scenes at all. It is a soap opera-esque type of situation where Colonel Guile and they jam in every single character from Street Fighter 1 and Street Fighter 2, which I was
Sure.
excited to see come to life.
It was like your version of the Avengers.
It was my how old was I? 12-year-old kid. Yeah, I went to theaters to see
You
this
loved
movie.
it.
I saw this movie for the first time when I was like 25.
And you also loved it?
Of course I did.
I wanted to see a Shuriken. I wanted to see the Guile do his kick flip.
Sure.
I want to see him Bison do his like torpedo move.
I'm
We
not
have
a Street
Zagat
Fighter
Vega.
gal. I'm a Mortal Kombat gal myself.
Okay.
So we'll see.
See, here's the problem I have with Street Fighter more than any, like conceptually. It's a Guile film.
Yeah.
When it should be a Ryu film.
It should be. And other animated movies have kind of
It's my understanding.
Fixed-
I have not
fixed
seen
that.
I've only seen the live action feature films based on Street Fighter.
got it.
Did you already say this? Is it on Sega? Where do you find this?
Oh no, this is on like every
Capcom.
platform that has ever existed.
Oh, you can get Street Fighter
it's
on
a
anything.
Capcom game,
Okay.
but available to
It's
all.
initially an arcade game. It was available on almost every home console. You can play it on your
Oh, okay.
phone. You can play it on your DS or your Sony's handheld machine, whose name evades me. Is it the Vita?
Oh, I have no idea.
It might have used to have been the Vita.
I don't
The
play
Game
video games
Boy?
anymore.
The Game Boy?
Not the Game Boy, because
No.
the Game Boy's current incarnation is the DS.
Okay.
So for me, there is this moment where Chun-Li, who's a featured character as well in this, and actually has her own Street Fighter movie, live action.
Chun-Li. This is the one
Legend
that I
of
keep
Chun-Li.
leading you towards,
Yeah.
and you keep like smacking it out of my
There's
hands.
a scene between her and Bison where she's chained and gets the opportunity to explain to Bison how he's ruined
Yeah.
her life. Like her father fought against him, and he was a coward, and Bison was a coward and ran away and shot him from 1,000 paces away. It's like a 5-minute monologue.
Sure.
And while she's delivering it, he's undressing and like taking his because he's probably going to
Is
try
this
to
a
force
racy
himself.
film?
No, he's
Oh, okay.
probably it's not. It's very soap opera-y.
Okay.
So he's like pulling his gloves on the
dresser.
on the dresser
Uh-huh.
and like taking off his cape because he wears the cape and his hat. He's getting ready. He's listening to her 5-minute dialogue
Yeah.
about how he ruined her life, and he says, "Yeah, you see, for you, the day that Bison, talking about himself in third person, graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was a Tuesday."
Such a good line, and Raul Julia's performance of it is for the ages
So why does it get such bad ratings?
because it's fucking horrible.
This is a movie that could have easily, I don't think it did, make my list of top 5 movies. They're so bad they're good.
Oh, okay. It's on the edge.
It's right there.
There's a wonderful oral history of this film. I need to see if I can scrounge it up, but like the fuckery involved in financing this movie is a thing.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
Made money, $100 million worldwide. Made for $35 million, so it made its money.
Okay.
All right, number 4. Do you care?
Number 4 to me, things are going to get a little bit better, and you aren't going to see this one coming at all because this one is from 2014, and it's directed also by Doug Liman and Christopher McQuarrie.
Didn't see that coming at all.
Is this that one with the guy who's like on the side of a wall and there's like a sniper and it's called The Wall?
No, that one's a little bit different.
All right.
That one is
Is
and
it
Meet
Go?
the Gates.
It's Go.
It's Go. It's Go.
Go. Favorite
You
Doug
always
Liman
steal
film.
my thunder. As you guys know, it's Edge of Tomorrow.
Nice.
So, is this on your list?
No, I specifically by name said this one was not going to be on
I
my
know. Oh,
list.
yeah, you told
So
me
I
that.
saw a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people talk. How is this? What's
So I'll
the
tell you
relation
why.
to
I'm
video
gonna
games?
tell
They
you
gave
later.
narrative logic.
Okay.
Well, and there's more to it than that.
You keep dying and you keep respawning, but
It's
every
more.
time you die, you get a little bit better at being that
That's
puzzle.
50% of why, and I'll tell you a little bit more. So the plot of this, we've talked about this before. Rob wrecked this to me like a year ago, and I thought I would hate it, and it was really good. And it's a major in the defense force played by Tom Cruise goes out. He's this like giant weenie. He's like he defector. Like he doesn't really want to fight. He doesn't want to do anything bad. They send him into war, and he has to go up against these alien monster things. And he just keeps. It turns into a Groundhog Day movie of he just continues dying over and over and over again in these various ways. And the movie's just hysterical and funny, and there's just so much to it that's really good. So it's Emily Blunt, Tom Cruise is in this, Bill Paxton is in this too. The other reason, so you mentioned the reason why it parallels all of these sort of like, you game over type situations, but it also parallels a book. So it's based on a book called All You Need Is Kill.
Yes.
And, so you knew that. Right. Or are you doing the thing where you pretend you knew, but you didn't really know?
I knew that was called All You Need Is
Yeah,
Kill.
sure. Written by Hiroshi Sakurazaka, and he has said that this entire book is based on his experience playing video games, and this movie is based on his book, which is why it's like a double whammy for video
Nice.
game idge.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right?
no, totally.
Great movie.
But neither list.
Well, because it's not. Yeah, for me, it doesn't meet my criteria of being a video game movie for this particular session.
Just based on and like kind of like one. Okay. So that was my number 4.
Number 4 to you, Tim.
So my number 4, I'm gonna. This is my one film that is in fact based on a video game.
Okay.
So it had best be on your list,
All right.
because it's like Street Fighter if Street Fighter wasn't bad.
Okay.
This movie is 1995's Mortal Kombat.
Woohoo! Number 4 for me, Tim.
Nice.
All right.
So directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, the Orson Welles of the video game adaptation, one might say. It's goofy and has a really shitty CGI, but it's a lot of fun. It's basically Enter the Dragon. It's a big old, there's a tournament, and the hero, who is Robin Shu's character, Liu Kang, has to win the tournament. And also there are aliens.
There weren't aliens in the actual video game, though.
It is not clear to me what the narrative of the Mortal Kombat video game is meant to be. There are fucked up creatures who have like 7 arms in the video game. I know that.
At the end, that's like if you get to the last battle, right?
Which I'm very bad at Mortal Kombat.
Oh, you've never gotten there? Oh, yeah. Well, when you get there,
Street Fighter was my game.
Oh, yeah. So that's the thing. If you actually win, you get to the end, and there's like this guy with 7 arms that comes out. Yeah.
Yep, Goro.
Goro's in the Mortal Kombat.
He's
who was your go-to man to get there, or lady?
For me, it was Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 1. And then in Mortal Kombat 2, it was Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung?
Yeah.
What's the one that throws the freeze balls?
Sub-Zero.
I use Sub-Zero. Love Sub-Zero.
I was very bad at Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, finish him.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, you haven't made it to Guru or Gorum.
I have not made it
Gollum.
to Gorum.
So tell us more about this movie.
I mean, there's really not much to tell.
No,
it's like a ludicrous, shitty B movie, but a ludicrous, shitty B movie made by the director so committed to the moral universe of ludicrous, shitty B movies that the phrase vulgar auteur has basically been coined to describe his career. Because he is an auteur, but he is also vulgar.
Yeah, I can't think of anything really good about this movie, but
except that it's fun.
It's fun.
This is to me a positive
animated?
movie.
No.
It's live action.
Live action.
A lot of really crappy CGI.
The soundtrack, I actually like the themes, like Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat.
Sounds really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. If there's a stand-up video game that ate all my quarters, it was the Mortal Kombat.
What was it?
Mortal
Remind me. You held a record.
It was not for this.
What was that game? We were in an arcade and Rob won. Beast of No.
Altered Beast.
Altered Beast.
Yeah.
That is a game which one certainly could hold a record on.
Rob held that for at least 3 weeks.
I picked the game. It might see me up there too, Tim, if you go out to Galloping Ghost.
No,
I'm trying to find.
won.
Hang on, I'm getting a YouTube ad here. I don't want the ad. This is what I want. This is what I was going for.
Okay.
Yeah.
The gong.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wait, what is this? This is not what it was supposed to be.
It'll get there.
It'll
Get there.
What? Okay.
Maybe
I should have prepped for this.
Rob could have edited this
springing
in.
this on live podcast.
Rob could have edited that in.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Not
Rob's
really.
dancing.
This isn't it.
This is not it.
Put your pants back on. Put your pants back on, Rob.
Also features Christopher Lambert playing a whitewashed Raiden, which is awesome. I guess the god of
Raiden is not, despite the fact that he's fucking obviously Japanese.
Yep.
He is not human, therefore cannot have a human race.
That's true. Fair enough. Also a movie made for $18 million. So for $18 million bucks,
Pretty cheap.
Not too bad.
Did you say that Christopher Lambert was Scottish?
Is he not Scottish?
He's French as hell.
Is he French?
You're thinking of the Highlander,
He's a French Scot.
where he plays
He played
a
it so-
Scot and
so
Sean Connery
convincingly.
plays a Spaniard.
He played it so convincingly.
I think that you need to watch the Highlander again.
My favorite moment
There could only be one.
is Johnny Cage's character
Thanks.
dropping to his knees with Goro and punching him in the balls.
Yep, that happens.
You can do a ball punch in that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good movie.
number
I will.
4.
I will. This would, if I were doing your rules, Rob, this would have been my number 1.
Okay.
Good to That's good to know. It would not have still been on my
Above
list.
Resident Evils, huh?
I think that all of them have. I don't know. Maybe I would have put it below Afterlife. The point is, it would have been high.
It would have been. It would have been.
And it would have been in the company of a lot of Paul W.S. Anderson.
Okay. Things are going to... This one, I think, is on Tim's list. So I feel good about this. I'm going to go to my next one, which is from 2010. I have not seen the original, but I did see the sequel because Rob made me, and it still meets the criteria. This is 2010's Tron Legacy.
This is, in fact, my number 3.
Oh, it is.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
It is.
And if I'm being like technically, you could say that Tron Legacy may be based on the game. But not really. Yeah.
I mean,
because then the game.
It is.
I think that is a sophistry that we can let slide through.
Yeah.
I feel good about this right now. So this is directed by Doug Liman too. No, I'm just joking.
Yes.
Joseph Kosinski, right?
One of those
and
weird ass Polish names that
I
no
know
real people have.
And it's weird that he could make movies because he was Polish.
I know,
so
right?
It's like I wouldn't expect that.
Hey.
But it's written by Edward Kitsis or Kitsis.
Somebody, I don't know.
Someone like
Was that movie written, or did it just sort of like come
sort of like
fully
run-
formed from the finger of our Lord God.
That could be so, but because it was lots of writers, actually, if you actually look
It's
out
probably
there.
like 70 writers.
It is. It stars Jeff Bridges, who plays the guy, the dad, and then Garrett Hedlund plays the son.
Plays the son.
Jeff Bridges.
Yep.
And then
They have names and I forget them.
I can tell you.
Flynn. One of them is named Flynn.
There is a Flynn.
Flynn is the surname. They're both named Flynn.
They're both named Flynn. One's Kevin Flynn and one is Sam Flynn.
I think Sam Flynn is the son.
It is the son.
Okay, so that would mean Kevin is the father.
Is the dad, who played by Jeff Bridges. Olivia Wilde's in this one too.
She is.
As a gal. And then
Well, she's not a gal technically. She's a program who has gal-shaped curves.
and that's fine.
It is.
It's fine.
I agree.
And so this movie gets a little weird, and I don't know if there's anything to know from the original that you can add to this, Tim.
It actually probably makes it easier if you have not seen the
If
original,
not,
to
okay.
be perfectly frank.
Okay. So Rob and I saw this in 3D, didn't we?
Oh, hell yeah. Best way to see
Yeah.
it. 3D
Yeah.
IMAX. I saw
Yeah,
it.
We
was
did.
nice.
Yeah, back in Schaumburg, Illinois, I think.
I saw it on Navy Pier. I saw it at the big
Oh,
IMAX.
that's really big.
It's real big.
It's
It's
real
a beautiful.
big.
It's a beautiful movie.
Yeah. So this is the son of a virtual world designer goes looking for his father, who has been sucked into some other digital world called the grid.
Yep.
And then his father designed the grid,
Yep.
but he's gotten trapped in the grid.
Yep.
And his father's world has been corrupted. And then there's this bad guy who's there who wants to escape the grid and then go into the real world, right?
Yep.
And fix it to be probably not the way it should be fixed,
To be even more bad.
to be more bad. So Flynn and his son, Sam, have to stop the guy in his evil ways, and they have to go out and do it. But in a series of like gladiator-esque car racing, lots of lights racing situations.
Situations are happening. all
Yeah.
over.
And
I love
It's a fun adventure
I
movie.
love about
it.
this
Yeah.
movie. Basically, here's the way I watch this film. It is a 2-hour Daft Punk music video.
Yeah.
And there's
that's
a
all you
plot
need,
and there's
right?
actors. But what you really need is Daft Punk and neon, particularly the neon that is like really accentuating Olivia Wilde in all the right places.
Right.
Also, want to shout out not bad. Jeff Bridges, young CGI.
You know, I
Not
think
bad.
it's not bad. The same technology got improved substantially when Marvel started playing around with it a couple years later. But it's not bad for sure.
Yeah, it was fine. I remember thinking that was good at the time. So yeah, that was my number 2. Oh, I'm done. Oh wait, no, I have another one.
Wait,
that was
was
my
that-
number 3.
that
That
was
was my
your
number
number
3.
three, yeah.
So we
Okay.
tied. We tied on that one.
Yep.
Oh, wow. So it's to me number 3.
It's you number 3.
Video game. I did.
Stop it.
I've only
Stop it.
no,
You're taking
no,
my number
no,
2.
no.
Okay.
I didn't play this game too much. I was aware of it. I've played it a few times. This is a movie that I think gets shat on quite a bit, and I don't think it deserves it. I don't think it's that bad. I'm talking about 2010's Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
It's pretty bad.
Is it?
It's not like bad. It's not like heinous.
Yeah, I kind of.
It's just real mediocre.
I kind of remember, and it's in the video game genre. Like mediocre is praiseworthy.
Well, for sure.
You know,
It is, however, not as good
Why-
as Mortal Kombat.
it is. Well, I don't know. I kind of enjoyed the movie more than the Mortal Kombat movie. Not as campy. It's played for like it's trying to be a legitimate movie. It's an adventure movie. It's whitewashed all over the place. It's Prince of Persia with no Persians in it whatsoever. It stars
Lots of bronzer.
Jake Gyllenhaal, Gemma Arterton, who's
Arterton.
like Arterton, who's I think she's like British maybe.
She's so hella British.
Ben Kingsley, probably the closest person to being Persian.
He is at least not white.
He's not white. Alfred Molina, Toby Kebbell, a young fugitive prince and princess Mustafa villain who unknowingly threatens to destroy the world with a special dagger that enables the magic sand inside. It's basically live action Aladdin a little bit.
Okay.
Mixed in with a dagger. The concept of that is pretty sweet. So you touch the knob of the dagger. You
touch the knob and time stops.
Oh,
Time
okay.
stops and it reverts back. So like imagine a bullet's coming at you, you get shot, you hit the dagger, you get 1 minute to
Yeah.
like change. It's a little Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay.
Because you have the minute back to change the circumstance that
Or it's more
caused-
like The Flash, right? Like you mean the person can go around and like move things
No,
in time?
you like rewind.
you rewind.
Oh,
but
okay,
you're
okay.
able to have the cognition of what happened in the minute.
Got it.
So you can reverse back a minute.
Okay.
Basically,
Got it.
you
got
reverse
it.
the sands of
and you
time.
can change it.
You can change the impact, and I thought done visually pretty well.
Okay.
Directed by Mike Newell, and here's the problem: like you have a director who did Enchanted April, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Mona Lisa Smile. Like not
You are being
Different.
uncharitable. You are not naming the film for which he got the job.
what got him the job? Donnie Brasco?
Harry Potter 4.
No, Was that before or after?
That was 2000 and something, and this was 2010.
Okay, so Goblet of Fire
Goblet of Fire was what got him the job.
But not an action. I mean, this is meant to be a little bit more high intensity action, and it was played a little bit more for the romantic aspects. But I gotta say, the
It was a Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's a Pirates of the Caribbean
and
movie.
It's not bad. Like it's passable. And again, for the genre that we're talking about, passable gets you a high grade.
Fair enough.
Brought in $336 million, made for it was big budget, $200 million movie.
Yeah, this is probably a movie that did not earn back its cost.
No.
When you factor in
it's considered
promotion.
a box office failure, and a lot. Again, it's whitewashed all over the place. But
that's why you like it.
Yeah, I kind of. Yeah, that's why I like it. I actually thought the chemistry was pretty decent between the two, and again, the dagger thing was pretty sweet. I
Prince
wouldn't
of
mind.
Persia.
Have you played the
concept.
game?
I have.
Okay, because I feel like once you play the game, seeing the same game mechanic in a movie feels like a game mechanic to me, and not like a narrative mechanic. I will say this movie, the theater I was watching it in, and not enjoying myself, there was a fire alarm. So I had to go like filter out and sit on the lawn for 40 minutes until they let us back in to watch the second part of the movie. Which
But you didn't leave.
I didn't leave.
So that's on you.
Because I knew that I was
That's on
not
you.
going to come back and see that movie another time.
You could have touched the knob.
Could have touched the knob. I was touching the knob the whole movie. It was the only thing that was keeping me interested.
Touching the knob on the lawn. That's great. That's great.
So what are you left
This
with?
is
Karen?
my
got her
second
number
and
two, and
last.
it's last
Second
line.
and last.
Okay, well then is it all right if we skip to Tim?
Oh yeah,
Tim's
that's
number
fine.
2.
What
Did
if
you
he
have a
takes
2 and
mine
1?
though?
I have a 2 and a 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay,
let's do that.
you go.
All right. So my number 2 is going to switch gears a little bit. It's a documentary about video games.
I'm going to go with my number 2 because you're taking my number 2.
What is your number 2?
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is The King of Kong.
That's my number 2.
We have the same number 2.
But you go
nice.
with your number 2.
So does it matter? So King
Your
of
number
Kong,
2 I feel like is better than my number 2.
2007 documentary made by Seth Gordon, who was a very good filmmaker at this time before he started making narrative features and sucked. And it is about a somewhat heavily fictionalized version of the quest to have the highest record score in the game King Kong. And
Donkey Kong.
Yes, Donkey Kong. Thank you. There is no video game King Kong. I mean, there is probably like a shitty tie-in to the Peter Jackson movie.
Rampage is like the closest thing.
We could also talk about that because that'll probably be potentially at least good enough to be on your list. So it is basically set up as this like David Goliath story about a fun, casual gamer named Steve Wiebe who just like is really fucking good at Donkey Kong. And this like professional gamer asshole named Billy Mitchell, who is worried that his status as the greatest Donkey Kong player is going to be called into question by Steve Wiebe. And definitely a film that when you start reading a little bit about the true stories behind it, Seth Gordon comes in, he's shaping reality to tell a good story, but it's a damn good story. And it is it's a sports movie. It's like structured like a sports movie, and in that capacity, one of my favorite sports movies. It totally gets you rooting for the underdog in a huge way.
I'm a little confused because I don't know I accepted it on face value.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to get to that yet. I want to
you know?
get there.
Okay.
No, I want to get there because I knew Tim would know, but I want to ask questions. So I purposely didn't read about the calling into question of like the integrity of the story that I wanted to ask Tim. But I do think it's interesting that you and I shaped the synopsis of this very differently.
What is your synopsis?
I had shaped it as that there was a guy who that came in played by Steve Wiebe, who took up the game after he had exhausted his job search and care for his kids because he was unemployed at the time, and ended up like trying to go out and beat the game. Like, basically what I'm getting at is like, what guy sits around for like 30 hours a day playing a video game when you're unemployed?
Sad one who is also sweet.
But he was so sweet in the movie. But at the time, I'm thinking like, now when I saw this movie, I was like totally empathetic towards him. Now that I have kids and that we're like have bills to pay, I would be like, screw you, man, get off the couch and like apply for a job. Like, I don't know. I think I would perceive this movie differently than I did when I saw it in 2008 or 2007.
It sounds like that is the case, yes.
I know. But anyway, so let's go back to it. But yeah, that's the case. And so the controversial part is that Billy Mitchell sends in a video at the end of this. They're competing for who has the highest score. Billy Mitchell sends in a video at the end.
Is this a spoiler?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I don't think so. Is that a spoiler?
I think this is not a
This is okay to
It's a
spoil?
documentary.
Okay.
No.
yeah.
So avert your ears if you
So
don't
avert
wanna
your
know.
ears if you don't want to know. But Billy Mitchell sends in the guy that you aren't rooting for, sends in a video of himself that's controversial because he says, I got a higher score than Steve Wiebe. And you're left like, that's the whole thing is like, we're trying to figure out who we side with. Like, is this video sound? Like, do we trust the fact of the video, like that he won or that he didn't win? And that's what the documentary is based on. So now I would push it to Tim too, to say like, I don't know what the controversy is in terms of how the documentary was shot or pitched or proposed.
It makes Billy Mitchell to seem like a much nastier human being than he is.
Oh, the documentary does.
The documentary
Oh,
does.
absolutely. I'm sure.
Like is he someone that you'd want to hang out with? Probably not, because just look at his fucking hair. He's clearly not like a socialized
judging
person.
on his hair.
His hair is like,
It's a little longer
if you have
than
that hair in the
necessary.
2000s,
Yeah.
you have a social disorder
You do.
of some sort.
It's not like the best hair.
It's bad hair.
It's bad hair.
So he's probably not a very like enjoyable person, but at the same time, he is not a calculating supervillain. The way that the
It
movie sort of
feels
sets
that
him out to
way,
be.
though, when you're watching it. You're definitely rooting for this like dad guy.
So I appreciated that setup. If that like why not? I know it's supposed to be a documentary, but I'm okay that they set
It's
it
a
up
good story.
that way.
But
It's
is
a
it-
Documentaries that are obsessed with realism and truth are boring.
Is there anything lost in the integrity of the story of the fact that that these two people went up against each other and it was a win-lose back and forth, like who won, who done it, like kind of thing?
I think it's deeply satisfying as a human interest story.
But do we know who won
Well, we know that neither one of them currently holds the record for the highest score in Donkey
in
Kong.
Donkey Kong?
So,
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim, for doing the research.
But if you guys have missed this and you're into gaming and you're into like what I said about Tetris earlier and Super Mario, I think this is a good one to check out.
Yeah, it's a
So
good one.
the King of Kong, a fistful of quarters,
Yeah.
right?
Your picks are so much better than mine as far as quality of films. I'm left with my number 2 and my number 1, and my number 2 is the predecessor to what our whole theme is about. I went with Lara Croft. I didn't have one in particular because they kind of bleed together for me.
The second one's a lot better.
Yeah, Cradle Life with the little Gerard Butler in it. Although the first one
That's not why it's better.
That's not why it's better. A little bit better story, perhaps. What I have jotted down is the first one. Simon West introduces us to the first live action movie version of Lara Croft Tomb Raider, played by Angelina Jolie. For me, what makes this movie is really just Angelina Jolie, just a really well cast.
Is Gina with her dad?
Yeah, he plays Lara Croft's dad.
Yeah.
And they were.
I haven't seen it, but
my understanding is John Voight and her were a little bit at odds for a long time.
And remain so. This was
remains
like
so?
their
Okay.
one big effort to try and patch things up, and it lasted for a couple of years.
she was like, "Do you want to babysit? I have like 12 kids. Are you up for it?" And he said no. And she was like, "Yeah, I don't want to."
Exactly what happened.
But it's. I mean, have you not seen these characters? Because
No.
it's trying to be like a female Indiana Jones.
I know, yeah.
Oh, it's trying.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them.
But in scantily clad, again 36 double D padded Angelina Jolie bra.
It's like everything you love.
It's like I know. Yeah.
Before Wonder Woman, my understanding was it was the highest grossing action film with a woman in a lead role. So there you go.
That is depressing.
That's very
It
sad.
is depressing. Yeah.
It outgrows Terminator 2.
Lead role? Would you say Sarah Connor
I would
was
say
lead
she's
role?
the lead role.
Yeah.
She's not the first build, though.
Well, however, wherever I got
not
the
the first
stat,
build.
wherever I got the stat, however
And
they
she's like
defined
only
it,
a
it did not work.
36C. So.
Yeah.
So that's your number 2.
That was my number 2. Yeah,
Okay.
I really enjoyed it as a movie. Again, passable movie.
Number-
Like I
number
liked it
2
better.
sounds about right to me.
I liked it better than Prince of Persia. So I'm ranking these in order of
Okay.
how much I like
How much you liked 'em.
these original video game properties. And
All right.
I enjoyed
And you're at your 1.
I'm at my number 1.
Here we go.
This is a very on-brand number 1.
Okay.
This is a 1988 film called Kung Fu Master, directed by Agnes
It's in the
Varda.
80s. That's not on a
It's
character.
on brand because
Okay.
it's an Agnes Varda film about a middle-aged woman who falls in love with a 14-year-old boy, and
That'll
he's
happen.
really good at playing Kung Fu Master, the arcade game.
Okay.
And she encourages this as a way of getting closer to him.
So yeah, what's the game though?
Kung Fu Master.
Oh,
Actual game you can actually play. I have
I
played
thought you
it.
said she fell in love with a kung fu
No,
master.
he wants to be a Kung Fu Master
okay.
at the game Kung Fu Master.
This works.
1988 film stars Jane Birkin as the bored housewife Mary Jane. Matthew Demi, who is Agnes Varda's son
Okay.
plays the 14-year-old that it's all real fucked up and creepy because like
Say the title again.
Kung Fu Master.
That's the title too.
Yeah, that's the title of the movie, Kung Fu Master. Because
Okay.
Agnes Varda and Jane Birkin were friends, and basically Agnes Varda was saying, "Hey, my good friend Jane. Hey, my 14-year-old son. I think I should film you two kissing." And that's basically what's going on here.
It's so weird.
It's kind of a like slightly fucked up, slightly charming.
Yeah.
It's just a great
That's like
little
in your
character
wheelhouse
piece.
right
Totally
there.
in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Jane Birkin, fascinating human being. Her position in like the development of French pop culture is really strange and wonderful. Have you ever heard of the Birkin bag?
No, I've heard of the Birkenstock.
The Birkin bag is a type of fancy purse that was like very popular in the 70s.
No.
Designed for her. Like the French designers loved her so much. She was Serge Gainsbourg. No. She was someone's daughter. She might have been Serge Gainsbourg's lover. That might actually be what I'm thinking of. Anyway, weird movie. Really, really fun. Really, really fucked up weird movie. And I mean, Agnes Varda.
And somebody plays video games in it.
The plot centers around basically how this pedophile is grooming her prey by letting him play this video game a lot.
I've never played this game, Tim.
It's terrible. It's a terrible game.
It looks pretty bad. I'm looking at the screenshots. I thought for a second maybe it was the Karate Champ game, which I did play.
No, this is a game available at the Galloping Ghost.
Okay.
So if we go there this summer,
going.
we're
We need
gonna
to
all
go.
have to play Kung Fu Master.
I probably have a shot at taking the record down.
And potentially at having sex with Jane Birkin.
The options are endless, really, for you, Rob.
Well, Tim, with my number one, I'm bringing back Paul W.S. Anderson because I do love me some Resident Evil. It's a great video game movie and a great horror movie. Zombies.
Going with the first one?
I'm going with... it was tough to narrow down. I haven't seen the final chapter, which I need to
The final
catch.
chapter is not as good as the first one or Afterlife or Retribution.
Okay, which is the one with her in the desert?
That's Extinction.
Extinction. Which
That one's not by Paul W.S. Anderson. And
Okay.
also probably my least favorite of the series.
I just really enjoy... What are you taking pictures of me?
Actually, Extinction is directed by the guy who directed Highlander.
Well, there you go. It's all coming back full circle. I really love the series. I didn't play the video game as much. I know you would like the movies, but
I've only played snippets and bits.
yeah, I've only
of the
played
games.
snippets and bits. But the movie,
The
I've really
games,
enjoyed.
the movies are bad adaptations. I know that much.
Yeah, and they're not faithful to it, which is fine because I like the premise
They're
of the
good.
movies. The problem is what I'm curious, Tim, and I'm glad you mentioned your love of the series. Is it gets a 28% average? The series does on Rotten Tomatoes. And those are film critics.
People just don't understand. I think it was really not until Afterlife and Retribution that like it snapped for a lot of people. Like, oh wait, this is what the series is doing. So I'd be curious: are those the two films that have the highest score?
The highest scores, I think, were 34%, which is is Final Chapter has the highest score.
I am shocked.
Yeah.
By everything you just said.
Yeah, it's pretty sad because visually and action wise, like they're fine movies.
They're solid movies.
Yeah, they're
Did you
fine
say any
movies.
of the actors?
Oh,
Who's in
sorry.
this?
Really, it's
Mila Jovovich.
Yeah.
She's it.
Who?
Mila Jovovich.
I don't know who that
Fifth
is.
Element. Girl
the red-haired one?
in the Fifth Element.
Sure,
yes.
sure, sure.
Absolutely.
Man.
And then Michelle
This is
Rodriguez.
Paul W.S. Anderson, no less.
I'm getting really
is
good.
she really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe they just live together. But
No,
I think
that's
pretty
pretty cool.
Married.
I didn't know that.
Is she a zombie too?
No, she's the zombie fighting, like super clone Alice.
So everyone else. Oh,
So what
okay.
it is that there's a corporation, the Umbrella Corporation, who set up. They've been doing tests on things.
They're bad.
They're bad.
They're an evil multinational
Obviously.
arms dealer corporation.
Yes.
And in order to further themselves, they've done experiments, and some of the experiments have gone awry.
Turned into zombies.
Created
zombies.
zombies,
Yeah,
created
that happens.
monsters, other things, but they've also created Alice, and like she's a superhuman somehow. Like everything lined up perfectly for her to be this perfectly engineered.
Person.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
she is awesome.
She is the perfect superhero.
Did you think she was awesome because of the video game or because of the movie?
Again, I didn't play the video game much.
Oh, you said, yeah.
Yeah, I did not. Like
Okay.
Mila in this, just
Oh, you know what? I take it back.
awesome.
I've played all of Resident Evil 4.
okay.
Is she in that one too?
No.
No.
No, I forget who the characters are, but
Does she
Allison.
get eaten?
I don't know what happens to Alice
No.
in the narrative. There's like 12 Resident Evils,
Okay.
and like they
Okay.
go in all sorts of chronological directions.
So Pan, pretty much, at least the first one was by critics and then also by gamers because you needed to be faithful in order for the gamers to, excuse me, appreciate it. But I loved it as a movie. Again, it's a good horror movie. It's a good zombie movie. Great action. It's kicking zombie ass, and like you typically don't see that. Like you see them using weapons or whatever, but you
Right.
don't see them like martial arting if that's a word.
That is
not a word,
like
but
I think you need to
a
stick
verb.
with it.
we'll
It's a
stick
verb,
with
yeah.
it.
Can I just
go ahead, please.
Just because you can't talk about Resident Evil without talking about the hallway where there's a laser beam that you jump over. And then there's a laser beam that you dodge. Oh, but then there's a grid of little inch-wide laser beams and you just get turned into diced meat.
Yes.
And who does that happen to?
Some
Just
random
people?
person. dies.
Many people who
Who's
tried to
good?
go through the maze there. What's nice is there's also the AI intelligence of the Umbrella Corporation too. So there's that feature in it too.
The Red Queen, is that?
Yeah, the Red Queen. That's right. Kind of
Creepy little girl.
Creepy little girl. So there's like a lot of nice little sci-fi elements in there too. But so if I had to sit down and watch a video game movie, I'd put on the whole Resident Evil series.
You don't have a favorite of the series?
I don't. I could watch it. I
You've seen them all.
except for the final chapter.
Oh, yeah.
Which sounds like I need to catch up
You
with.
should. It's very emotionally satisfying if you are
Okay.
a fan of the... It's got some issues. I think that it is... 4 and 5 are the only two that I would say are actively like very good movies. Or not even very. But 6 is satisfying as hell.
Okay.
Does it feel today like somebody had a best list? Like if we were going to throw it out there?
We can compare ourselves to the audience and
Let's not do
maybe
that.
maybe
Let's
judge
not do
way.
that.
I mean, I feel like your list had the most good movies on it.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I'll say that.
Thanks. I feel good about that too, especially with the Bill and Ted ad.
Bill and Ted is one of your better movies.
This is one of the. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you had more quality movies. I was more faithful to the.
And really,
to the
all
actual
the movies that you
premise.
guys have talked about, I haven't seen. I haven't seen any of the Angry Birds. I haven't seen. I
you
haven't
saw
seen.
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds
No, I
is real
didn't.
bad and should have been on no one's list.
I never watched that with you.
I will point out I'm the only one who had a film where a middle-aged lady has sex with a 14-year-old
Pedophile.
boy.
You know what?
I'll
Pedophile's
aspire
always a
to
miss
it.
for me.
I'll aspire
need
to it on
bring
our
that
next
yeah.
on our next episode
right.
to include as much pedophilia as possible. In the meantime, every week we ask you to share your picks and thoughts for a chance to win a free Amazon movie rental. Based on the results, here are your top 5 picks. Tied for number 5. We had 4 actually at number 5.
Okay.
Have not seen one of these. Final Fantasy: The Spirit Within.
It's very bad.
It's not good.
I don't like it.
Okay. The Wizard.
Also really very
Also
fucking
bad.
bad.
So good.
I like it.
Unbearably bad.
If
Shitty
Fred
as hell.
Savage
Different
going down
than
a
The
journey.
Wiz.
I wanted to
So
be the
bad.
Wizard. I wanted to be Fred Savage.
Speaking of pedophilia, it has a scene where a 12-year-old girl or 14-year-old or whatever she is jokes about how some guy tried to touch her breast as a way of like distracting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
That's true.
Interesting.
That's
Less
true.
than
That is in
ideal.
there.
Very, very late 80s sort of thing to think you could put in a movie and have it not be horrifying.
The Last Starfighter, is it on there?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Tron Legacy. No, it's actually not on the top 5. Tron Legacy also tied for number 5.
Yes.
And also tied for number 5, Prince of Persia.
Oh,
So a
okay.
little,
All right,
little
all
nod there
right,
for
all right.
both of us. Tied for number 4, we have Lara Croft. I just kind of combined it, but the leading vote getter was The Cradle of Life.
Cradle of Life is a lot better
Yeah.
than the first one.
Also tied with Lara Croft. Surprised it not on your list, Care. Super Mario Brothers. Not a good movie.
That
haven't
is
seen it.
one of
I
the
haven't seen it.
epic failures of cinema.
but so bad. Is it good?
That-
it is kind of so bad.
Here's
that
the thing.
Yeah.
Should have been good.
It is. Let's put it this way.
How could you make a plot of that good?
I don't know.
It is along with
All those mushrooms?
with some of the Resident Evils, the only video game movie I own.
All right.
So
So that's 1 in 7
that's the
million.
Standing alone at number 3. And Tim, I think you said you did not see Silent Hill.
I have not seen
I
Silent
think
Hill.
you might like it.
I wanted to try to see it. It was just a very
Yeah.
bad week.
Surprise.
It is
Maybe
currently
should
on.
have made
It
my
is
list.
on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Maybe it's on Prime.
It's a
But
good
either
horror. It's just
Netflix
a
or
solid
Prime.
horror movie. It's
Let's
pretty
watch it.
creepy. It's
Okay.
pretty creepy. Yeah, great visuals. Tied for number 2, Wreck-It Ralph.
Got it.
All right.
Got it.
Also Mortal Kombat.
Hey,
Don't-
So
got
that wait. Oh yeah, for Tim.
That was
Yeah.
mine.
All right. And last but not least,
Kung Fu Master.
Resident Evil.
You already said it tomorrow.
Just Resident Evil writ
That's
large.
it. Just Resident Evil at large.
Right.
Yeah, people weren't calling out specific ones.
Well,
We had picked the mainstream picks, Rob. It's good.
And our lucky winner was audience member WBTN, and who said, because I'm a masochist, I'm not going for movies about video games or featuring video game logic. Sorry, Tron Legacy. So he's going about not just video
So
game logic.
he's doing a Rob.
Doing the Rob.
Pulling a Rob,
So
yeah.
for him, number 5, House of the Dead, which was on my so bad it's good list. Street Fighter, and he actually admits feeling badly about that. Resident Evil, the regular, the first one. Then Resident Evil Retribution, and then Resident
WPTN?
Evil. Huh?
Is this
no.
you?
No, these are 3 Resident Evils in a row. And the number 1, Resident Evil Afterlife.
if I recall the order correctly, I like 4 better than 5, which I believe means I like Afterlife better than Retribution.
Okay. Well, WBTN, shoot us an email at contact@alternating.com for details on how to claim your free Amazon movie rental. If you want to win a free movie like WBTN, be on the lookout for a spoiler alert or top 5 movie posts on Facebook and Twitter to share your favorite picks. In closing, thanks everyone for listening. Be sure to check us out on social media. Go out to our Facebook page and like it. Check us out on Twitter. We're tweeting all the time now. Go out to alternating.com where you'll find our movie reviews, podcasts, blogs, and more. Subscribe to our podcast on either iTunes or Google or wherever you find your podcasts. And of course, don't forget about all the exclusive content on Patreon this week, which will include Carrie and Tim doing a dramatic reading, apparently, that I missed out on while I went to go check on our kids, of The Notebook.
Real steamy scene from The Notebook.
Very hot.
It's the best scene.
Yeah, you went all the way?
Hey, you'll have
I guess
to
we'll
find
have to
out.
listen back.
You have to become a Patreon, Rob.
We'll see what happens. Next episode with Pacific Rim Uprising and Sherlock Gnomes coming out, we're taking a look at our top 5 unnecessary sequels. Catch you then.